Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. You know, everybody loves a good comeback story, right? Who doesn't love a good comeback tale? For me, I'm hoping maybe today we'll get one of those. Because recently I made some videos at the end of 2023. It talked about bottles I regretted getting, distilleries I'm no longer buying from, and one of the distilleries on that list was Nulu. I'm just not impressed with Nulu's whole approach to bottles. Really what they're doing, obviously they source whiskey, but then they finish it. That's their thing. So I don't really call them a distillery. But Nulu is sourcing whiskey and then finishing it in different barrels and trying to get some different unique flavor profiles on that whiskey. It's from MGP. And I have just been burned too many times by Nulu bottles, because the thing is, they're not like $50, $60, $70. They're like $100, $120, $150, depending on which bottle you're getting. And too many times I have dropped 3 figures on a bottle from Nulu and thought to myself, hey, I don't like this. This is not good. Or I think it's okay for 50, 60 bucks, but certainly not for double that. So one of our viewers, DMC, who sent in a lot of like the Weller samples that we did in the blind, stuff like that. Big shout out to DMC. But DMC said, hey, you got to give him another shot. I got this Nulu peach brandy finished bourbon. It's 118 proof. They finished it for 3 months in peach brandy casks. Well, we will see, DMC. He said, this is going to redeem him for you. You got to try it. I'm going to be honest, though, DMC, while I really appreciate you sending this in, I'm going to try to remain objective. So here we go. Another Nulu product. The last one I tried was an apple brandy finished bourbon from Nulu, and my notes on that were that it was a decent barrel-proof bourbon, but I got no apple. Like, there was no apple in there, no brandy sort of a vibe off of that finish. They may as well not have done a finish at all. And for 120 bucks, there are a lot of great barrel-proof bourbons out there, and it wasn't even old juice. I think it was like 5-year-old bourbon. So I just thought it was heckin' overpriced. We'll see if this one can. Okay, I can already say right out of the gate, peach is the very first thing I get on the nose of this. Whereas my last one, I got like none of the finish, none of the apple brandy. Very first thing I get on the nose of this is peach. Sweet peach, almost like those peach ring candies that we used to eat as kids. You still see them in gas stations. There's also this sort of creamy, buttery vibe too. But this is in no way, shape, or form bashful about the peach, which I respect. Also getting like plenty of ethanol burn on the nose as well. Not getting a lot of like caramel notes or anything like that from the bourbon though. It's really just sweet peach and cream. Let's try it. Holy cow. This is like a swing in the opposite direction of the last one I had from them. Which kind of goes to verify some of my thoughts on Nulu that I shared. Was that they're just so inconsistent. Like, you never know what you're going to get. You're always going to get an expensive bottle, but you never know what you're going to get out of the experience. But while the last one was just really tame and muted, it was just bourbon. This, you could have told me this was like peach vodka. It is all peach. And then just burn in the back of the throat after you swallow. I mean, it's yummy. I like sweet peach. But I'm wanting some of those caramely vanilla notes, something rich underneath it all, something dark with some body to it. Because right now, like, all I'm getting is just tons of peach and some ethanol heat after you swallow. It almost makes me wish that they had done this with a rye instead. Because I feel like that peach brandy finish that's coming through so strong would be really nice to be offset with some of those like soft yellow fruits, those some pine notes, some peppercorn and spice, things that rye can bring to the table that I think really help to balance out some big sweet profiles. I mean, the more I drink it, the more I can tell that it's bourbon, but I just wish it had some age and some maturity and some depth underneath all that peach. It's like a glass of candy. It's good, and trust me, I have a sweet tooth, so I don't mind that per se, but it's certainly really far from what I was expecting. So where do we land on this? How would we rate it? Did it sort of redeem Nulu in my mind? Man, so there's a few things to talk about there. Then I guess one is the price point. You gotta keep in mind what the price is. Is it yummy? So I think it's tasty. I think it is. I think it's pretty yummy, but but I'm not sure that it's $100 plus tasty. I feel like at that price point, I would want some age and maturity on the bourbon. Let the bourbon really just shine through and be the foundation upon which the peach gets to sit and be elevated. I feel like this would be a really good bottle if you did like a $60 to be like, hey, this is a 4-year-old bourbon finished in peach brandy casks, and you're just gonna get a ton of peach and sweet off of it. I think that would be totally fine by me. Man, that is peculiar. So would I be a little more trusting of Nulu moving forward to buy another bottle from them? I still don't think so. Just because I've yet to see any kind of consistency. Like, I just don't know what to expect when I buy a finished product from them. Is it going to be like this, where it's all the finish? Or is it going to be like the last one that I bought, where it was just bourbon with no notes of that finishing barrel at all? They really are a wild card. And if you're willing to drop the coin on it, then you may really like that. For me, I think that when it comes to playing risky games and rolling the dice on a wild card, I'm a lot more willing to do that for between $50 and $70. I'm a lot less likely to do that at $100 to $120. And that's why I think I'm still happy to try any Nulu samples people send me, but I don't think I'm going to go buy a bottle myself anytime soon. Big shout out to DMC. Thank you so much. I appreciate your generosity, all the samples that you sent in. Really enjoyed, especially the Weller samples you sent. I enjoyed those quite a bit. I finished off that foolproof one the other night because I did just the sample, just a little bit out of that sample for the blind that we did, and then I set the rest of it aside. And so I had a nice was it Monday night? I was gaming with my wife, and I was like, I'm pouring the rest of that. That was delicious. Thank you. Big shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Appreciate y'all for funding the bottles I get to review here on the channel, helping me keep the content flowing. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Cheers, my friends. Be warned. Actually, I may upload this video on Monday, in which case that would make no sense for me to wish you a good weekend. Well, whenever the next weekend is for you, I hope that it's a good one. And again, cheers. May you live richly and get better with age, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.